Alright country, back here with another video. I'm giving y'all some lessons today. Let's look at this fence. So, I look at a fence like a car. These pickets, that's the paint job on your car. But this framing, all this framework right here, that's the motor of the car. If you don't take care of that motor, you can't drive that car. That motor breaks down, you can't drive that car. You can't show off that nice pretty paint job. So the most important part of the fence is the motor. Don't get fascinated by that paint job. You got to take care of this motor. So I usually recommend to my customers about 3 months after you get your new fence built, you should water seal it with some kind of really good water seal. And it's kind of like putting Rain-X on the windshield of your car. You just don't want that rain penetrating that wood. Keep it off of there. You need, if you're in good with your neighbors, you need to try to water seal both sides of it. If you can, it's really simple to do. You pour it in one of them big spray pump bottles, pour it in there, pump it up, and just spray it on there. Nice, good, heavy, thick coat. And it'll help your fence tremendously. And then you should pressure wash your fence once a year. Wash off all that old weathering, wash off that old water seal, and reseal it. Because after about 12 months, that water seal starts fading and it stops protecting. Unless you get a really good quality one that might extend the life of the fence. Maybe you could pay more money and get one that might last 3 years, something like that. That's kind of the way I look at a fence. It's like a car, like I said. This is the motor. Those pickets is just the paint job. And with that being said, when you don't put a rot board on a fence, it puts a lot of strain on that motor because the weight of those pickets is steady weighing down on those runners, those 2x4s. So over time, that's why you see them warping, bending, stuff like that. You put that rot board on there, those pickets set on that rot board, and that rot board takes the weight of the whole fence. Therefore, it takes all the strain off the motor of that fence. There's no strain on that motor whatsoever. That rot board is carrying all the weight. It's the horse. So, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, you can take it how you want. But building a fence without a rot board is like driving your car without oil. Puts too much strain on that fence and it ain't gonna last near as long as having a rot board on it. And it don't cost that much more to get that rot board. If I had a choice between top rail, middle rail, and bottom rail, or just top rail and bottom rail with a rot board, I would choose the top rail and bottom rail with the rot board if you're trying to save a little bit of money. You can even use 2x4s for that rot board. It's still going to be strong because it's going to be up on its edge, and that's the strongest part of the board. You can change the height of your fence just by changing the height of that rot board. 2x6 gives you 6'6", 2x8 gives you 6'8", 2x10 gives you 6'10", 2x12 gives you a 7-foot fence, or you can put 8-foot pickets on it and do the same thing. I'll be doing an 8-foot fence here pretty soon. And all my posts are 8 feet long, 2 foot deep, except on the corners I do 10-foot posts, 3 foot deep. And whenever I have a long run like this, in the middle, I put another 10-foot post, 3 foot deep. So this was an 89-foot fence, basically 90 foot. I took this 90-foot fence and turned it into 2 45-foot fences. So when the wind gets against it, it's not going to find a weak point in that fence. I do this on all my long runs. I did it on the back here also. This back was 67 feet. So I did it in the middle. I usually do it if it's right around 70 feet. So that way you only have about a 35-foot section that's going to be the weaker point, but the less fence that wind has to push against, the sturdier that fence is going to last. So it seems to help out a lot. If I do it on a really long run, like I'm going to do a fence where the back fence is 212 feet with no intersecting fences, then I'm probably going to divide that fence up into fifths, and I'll put a 10-foot post every 40 foot or so, and it'll really strengthen that back fence. And so now I cut that whole 212 foot of fence up into 40-foot sections, and it's a lot stronger fence. So anyway, Country with another video, signing off.